And why is it, whenever God was dishing out massive cocks, he always gave it to the tall, skinny guys?
I've watched a lot of porn in my past, and I can tell you that that is true.
And I don't think women even care about size, right?
No, they don't care.
Heck no.
They don't give it. They don't care at all.
It's only men that care.
Sizes make a difference.
Yeah, and I think whether you're natty or not, I think you're going to always find a commonality of people working hard.
You are also succumbing to the same fallacy that many of us do. That a swimmer doesn't look the way he does because he swims because of the way he looks.
He's saying, I'm the natural guy that you can look for being empathetic and caring about you. And then these big fitness scumbags who are selling you products are trying to scam you.
You look at Greg Doucette, Nick Bare, Thomas DeLauer. I don't know what's true, but I do know these people personally, and I believe them. When Nick Bare and Thomas DeLauer say they're natural, I got no choice. Like, what's my choice? Just to be like, nope, you're a liar.
Our boy James Smith, we've had him on the podcast before. James is funny. And he has a lot of things to say about like genetics and steroids and people in the fitness industry. And he's also really great when he goes about it. So I think we should watch this video. It's called Fitness versus the Genetic Lottery, right? It'll be interesting.
Yeah, let's check it out.
The fitness industry is a fucking lie, and it's full of bullshit. But the angle I'm about to cover with you is pretty interesting. Let's remove it from the fitness context to begin with. We've all seen adverts on TV for cosmetics, makeup, beauty stuff. And the model that's always promoting it is banging, like fit, like 20 out of 10 fit. And no offense to these models, but they're born with that. You don't have to work too hard in life to be good looking. It's like facial symmetry, different proportions.
But, okay, we've had somebody on the podcast recently, the author of the book Jaws, Sandra Khan.
I beat you.
There you go. We have the author of the book Jaws, Sandra Khan, and we know that people who eat real food and have been eating stuff from kids, they masticate, they end up with better teeth and better jaws. And people who don't, who just slurp food down, they don't end up looking as good.
Better health habits from the time you're young probably make a big difference.
Yeah.
Probably part of it.
But then...
then you have which one is that?
So that's Kylie Jenner. So like before and after surgery. But
for those listening,
I just wanted to bring her up because like what he's talking about, like with the cosmetics, like I think she has like one of the absolute like best selling cosmetic lines like in history.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And people are like, oh my God, because she's so beautiful. But like everybody forgets that what she looked like before she got surgery.
Right.
But what he's saying is right.
She's still pretty.
You're right. But
also,
like she looks way different though.
Oh, yeah.
And then also on top of that, she's extremely famous. Like for what I don't.
Yeah, that helps. Yeah.
You know, so like what he's saying is definitely spot on.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But like the thing is,
her tits look great. Did I say that out loud?
Well, I mean, I believe she's of age, right?
in which picture? When they're right, yeah.
The when they exist.
But no, but this is the thing. One thing is that like the title of his video is Fitness versus the Genetic Lottery. A lot of people think that certain things are just genetic. Like, oh, being really in shape, genetic, or being really pretty. Like, there are aspects of the way you look that you probably can't change, like your eye color. But then there are aspects of the way you look, maybe your jaw, maybe how much fat you're holding in your face by losing some body fat. You can change those things. I've seen some pretty big women, like, you know, or men, they get in better shape and then they're fucking hot, you know, but that took work, right?
Sometimes somebody loses a little too much weight sometimes too.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, that's not, that's not great. You know, I think it's interesting because without experiencing somebody else's life, you have no idea what it's like. And it's easy to point out, you know, one of the Kardashians or whatever, but that's not even necessarily just genetic because she had a surgery. Obviously, she thought that she needed it. So there's going to be time that's put into putting on makeup and doing things with your hair. There's going to be money that's put into. There are people that are beautiful, probably almost no matter what they do.
Oh yeah,
like that exists. However, there's usually some thought. There's usually something worked at. Wearing nice clothes, making sure stuff fits you appropriately, making sure things show your body
wearing a particular because your head's too fucking big.
Particular way. Like everyone's always trying to look good, and I think when it comes to some of the things he's saying here, you know, even just something like makeup, like it takes time and it takes a lot of learning. Like we don't know anything about makeup, but you guys probably like the way your ladies wear their makeup. I like the way my wife does it. I kind of think she uses like minimal amount, and it just kind of like highlights her, but there's other people that have different tastes. There's other people that go about doing it different ways. So even something as small as like the usage of makeup can be, and women will know, it can be a huge deal.
To promote the makeup, which is kind of counterintuitive. The person that needs to spend money on cosmetic makeup the least should not be the one advertising it. So it's almost counterintuitive that you get someone that's beautiful to promote makeup, but what you want is the person taking the makeup to think they'll end up beautiful. So where do we see this most commonly?
You've seen it in nightlife, man. You have a girl who's like wearing makeup, like, oh. And then one time you see her without makeup, you're like, you're a different human being. Not necessarily like you look bad, but you're just a different human being. So makeup can transform people.
Like lighting and good lighting, bad lighting, right?
Oh yeah, makeup, especially when they know how to do it, they can change the shape of their face.
I do think that people that look good, I do think that they work at it more so than we would think, though. Like I'm saying, like it takes a little time to put on makeup, and somebody might think like, well, that's not really, they already look nice. But I also think that someone that looks nice probably wants to continue that. So they probably do things, probably have habits in their life. Maybe they have special skincare. Maybe they use moisturizer.
Yes.
Maybe they make sure they get their sleep, like their beauty rest. Maybe they make sure they don't smoke cigarettes, stay in the sun too long, all these different things.
Have you guys seen this one?
I have not.
Okay, you are. From what I understand, like I think she is in fact young, and I think something happened during pregnancy or something. But like she like for some reason this woman lost her teeth. But so like that alone will make her look older and stuff.
Yeah.
But I just want you guys to check out this transformation. I'm not gonna put any audio on it because it's on TikTok, so it's probably got some music or something. But this is, I mean, dude, you want to talk about skills? Hopefully it didn't take too long.
Okay. What?
Just keep it going. Watch.
Okay.
Transforming.
Eyebrows came out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. Skin just cleared up. Whoa. Yo, see?
Oh, me? I just woke up this way.
Oh, and tits came out of nowhere. Hey, what? Yo, tell me makeup doesn't work again.
Yeah, dude, that's just wild. I saw this on Twitter, and I just fucking blew my mind. I was like, whoa, that's some skill.
Yeah, fucking hell, the fitness industry. The majority of people promoting supplements, whether at expos or online in magazines, whatever, are fucking shredded and muscular as fuck. Is it because they take the product? No, the factor for selection is that Dave over here has injected more testosterone into his butt cheek in the last 3 years than you can shake a fucking stick at. And you, the consumer, are very likely to mistake the factor for selection with the product. You see the product and go, fucking hell, he's in good shape because he took that protein shake. Is he fuck? It's filtered fucking milk. And although I'm an advocate of filtered fucking milk, it's not going to make you wake up like Adonis tomorrow.
I have no idea what this guy is talking about. This is completely ridiculous. It hasn't only been steroids that have taken me these places. It's things like Keto Pro that you can get from withinyoubrand.com. It's things like Mind Bullet. It's things like Slingshot.
If I remember, didn't you gain 30 pounds of muscle and lose at the same time 10 pounds of fat on using Keto Pro every single day?
It was that, and it also it caused my telemeters to go way back. So my actual age right now is 33.
You know that guy
instead
Brian,
of 46.
That guy Brian Johnson, who's like all about anti-aging. Your telomeres did shorten, apparently. Or actually,
exactly.
they got longer because of Within You protein. Where can they get it?
Withinyoubrand.com.
Get it now.
Yeah, we would never try to hawk anything on the show.
Of course not. Of course not. But this is funny. You know, the old supplement marketing that you'd see a long time ago was like the big ass bodybuilder who definitely was on steroids. That was just like, yeah, it's just my protein and
I know explode.
I know explode. Right? But one thing that I think is odd is that supplements aren't the only thing that make a difference, but you do know that like having some protein makes it much easier to get in the amount of protein you need so you can grow muscle over time rather than having to eat it all the time. A lot of supplements aren't bad, and talking about them, it's not like it's the only thing, but it's like,
it's sometimes messed up because that's where people want to start.
That's where people want to start.
They want to say, hey, should I be on creatine? And they haven't really started a workout program yet. And you're like, well, let's focus in on the workout. And yes, creatine can assist you. I think that's, one of the issues that people, they tend to hear these like novel things, and they hear these things about what can advance them the quickest. Maybe they hear something about steroids, and they kind of jump the gun on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It could be a supplement. It could be a performance enhancing drug. And you're like, well, let's maybe have you get into the gym and start to have some good habits first.
Like the biggest things that are going to help you is like your nutrition, obviously exercising, getting quality sleep. Most people don't get a good amount of sleep each night, and they don't have the right habits around their sleep so they can take advantage of all that recovery. Those things are going to move the needle faster than creatine or protein shakes or anything else will. All these things are additive. But one thing that he kind of does is like, he goes to the extreme. So he mentioned the big person, but then he also mentions that shoots tests and does this. And it's an interesting tactic. And I'm curious how he's going to do it for the rest of the video, because a lot of people, when they do see people with impressive physiques, especially nowadays on social media, the first thing is be like, oh, what cycle are they on? Or what are they doing this? What types of drugs are they taking? And there are people like, James has made comments like this a bit. It's just like, everyone's put into the Liver King kind of category. Whereas, even though I've been lifting since I was 13, I've been playing sports since I was 6, right? So I've done this for a long time. I also have habits in my lifestyle that a lot of people don't know, or a lot of people don't have, and we're able to share those habits that anybody can utilize so that they can gain some of the benefit that we've been able to gain doing this for decades. So it's not all about supplements, but if you spend time in this lifestyle, you're going to have different habits that are going to allow other people to get the same benefit.
And, the people that he's referring to, the people that look good, that are maybe trying to sell you on supplements, the odds that those people have some good habits are really, really high. The odds that those people, only sleep 4 hours a night and drink a lot and have a lot of bad habits is really, really low. The likelihood is through the roof that they have a lot of other good habits and good discipline. So yeah, they might be trying to sell you on something. They might say, try my energy drink, or try this product, try my Mind Bullet, or try my Within You Brands products, or my Slingshot, or whatever it might be. But they also probably have a lot of good habits, and they have experience with those things. The reason why I started a supplement company, and the reason why I'm so into supplements, or part of the reason I brought a supplement brand to the market, was because I've always loved supplements. I always thought they have a really good place at the table for people to utilize as a tool. And then I thought to myself, well, I want to try to bring things to the market that I think taste really good. And there's a lot of great products out there, and a lot of people make things that taste really good. But I was like, I want to develop my own because I think it goes along with my message. So yeah, I am trying to sell something. Yes, of course, I'm trying to make money. But at the same time, I'm like, I think this is a convenience for people. Just like we share ideas, I like to share the products that are going to make people's life, in my opinion, make it a little easier, make it a little smoother for them to transition into some of this stuff.
Another thing, think about this, and we're going to get right back to the video, but the weird shit that we do that is just normal and habits for us. We have these mats underneath our feet that like emulate fucking nature and shit, and I'm fucking wearing Vibrams so that my feet can get stronger. It's just like all these little habits, they add up over time. This mat underneath my feet, I end up fidgeting more, so I end up burning more calories without thinking about it. It's just, these are passive things that we're doing to enable us to live healthier, stronger lifestyles that anybody can do. So, it's just, it doesn't need to, it doesn't need to sound so villainous.
We do understand what he's talking about, though, because there was the Liver King incident, but I don't.
Yep.
The Liver King is somebody that used steroids, and he was, trying to sell people products, and he's trying to say that he kind of obtained that physique and that build through his lifestyle habits. And he repeatedly said that he was natural over and over again. So he was misleading people, but that does happen in the fitness industry. But the times that I can think of that it happened, it's just like a handful of times that I can recall where it was like, oh yeah, this guy got busted. He lied about what was in the supplement, and who knows about sometimes like what's actually in the supplement. That's like a whole different category of thing. But I think most people in the fitness industry, Greg Doucette, Lane Norton, most of these guys that sell products, Derek from More Plates, More Dates, myself, any of these people, I think they're just trying to help. I think they're just trying to assist. Again, yes, trying to make money. It's a business, and there's a reason for it, and it's something that I'm excited about, something that I like to do, and I'm sure they probably feel the same. But you're also trying to offer something to people that you think is kind of cool. Like, oh, if I offer this, people keep asking me to do this with Derek, starting his Gorilla Mind. People asked him a lot about, hey, can you review this product? Can you review that product? He reviewed a bunch of them and said, I don't really like the ingredients in some of these. And then so he made his own. Yeah. And he's like, try this. So you might think that it's awesome. You might think that it's a little bit better than some of the other stuff, but I don't see anything wrong with that. I just think that that's kind of the American way.
Power Project family, how's it going? Now, Piedmontese Beef is a company we've been eating literally for years now because they have some of the best beef on the market, tons of cuts, tons of different types of beef. Check them out. Andrew, where can they get it?
At Piedmontese.com. That's PIEDMONTESE.com. And at checkout, enter promo code POWER to save 25% off your entire order. And if your order is $150 or more, you get free 2-day shipping. Links to them down in the description as well as the podcast show notes.
Is widely known as the swimmer's body illusion. You might remember I did a shorter video on this that got 25 million fucking views because people were like, oh, he's got a fair point. And basically what I was saying was, you don't pick your sport as much as your sport picks you. Take this for example. I played rugby for 15 years and people often have said to me, James, you've got a rugby player's physique. But do I? Do I actually have a rugby player's physique? Am I big and broad because I played rugby? Or did I play rugby because I'm big and broad?
What he's saying here though about the sport selecting you is interesting. And I don't think you would find a lot of people to disagree with that. What do you think?
I would actually maybe disagree with that a bit because it also kind of depends on the sport. You know, like look at sports like golf. You look like at soccer where there's so many different types of body types of people. There are guys who have big upper bodies and normal legs, guys that are short with thick legs. There are so many different body types, but they just managed to get into the sport when they were young. And I would say that like it takes work to get very good at something like that. I know if you look at basketball, where like most guys are going to be 6'X", right? So you do need some type of crazy genetics for that. But I don't agree with that all the way, although I do understand what he's saying. Like
there's like skill set, you know, and of course with like football, if you're bigger and you're in high school and you grow up here in the United States, a lot of people are like, you're going to play football? Like, right? So sometimes you're kind of pushed into something. If you're real tall, people are like, you play volleyball, you play basketball. They're going to kind of just assume that you play some of these things. But I agree with some of what you're saying too, because a lot of these things are like a skill set and the range of how someone can, what weight someone can be, and all these things can really vary a lot. When it comes to something like a sport like CrossFit, you look at some of the CrossFit winners, it's really weird because they're all very, very, on the men's side, I'm not sure as much on the women's side, but on the men's side, it's all really similar physiques.
They all have like, they have like the same archetype of physique. They're like 5'6" to 5'8", X amount of pounds. They all perform the best. But, you know, something interesting, I get what he's saying, and there's some truth to it, but I also think there's a kind of a defeatist mindset there because, you know, think about, we all started lifting when we were 13. And that put us ahead of the pack because we were able to start lifting when we had that cocktail of great childlike hormones that's just mixing and helping you grow. Think about all the young kids that started doing football and started lifting and they got big and then they became pros. If they started at 19 or 20, would that have been the case? I mean, some people have great genetics for it and it happens faster, but some people really work. Like if you can pull up Julian Baldi, Baldi, he's the Italian guy that came in here once. And if you pull up his Instagram, you could see pictures of him before, like a lot of strength training. And then people like say he was on steroids or whatever. I believe he's natural. He says he's natural.
Did a 45-degree back raise with like 275 pounds or something, right?
That guy works. He was one of the hardest workers I've ever seen in the gym, and just crazy in the head too, in a way that allows him to put himself ahead of the pack. But that's not just because of pure genetics. That's why this conversation's weird, because it's like genetics are a factor, but we can't say that genetics are the only reason why a lot of these people are great. Like they put in fucking work that most people can't imagine. Yeah. Look at him.
I think also, you know, to James's point, James was probably maybe ahead of the pack when he was young. And then people were like, you're going to go out for rugby, you know? And so he probably played rugby because he probably was a little bit, he seems like he's very athletic.
Yeah.
So he probably was from a young age athletic, but also like, why is he athletic? He's not just athletic. He's athletic because he's participating in sports probably. He's probably been doing so for a long time. So yes, there could be some gifts from mom and dad. Maybe they played soccer or whatever. But also, I would imagine there's work in there, and we discredit stuff if it's not in the gym, and I think that's the biggest mistake that we make is that we forget that this particular kid played tennis for 6 years, and this particular kid, swam for 6 years before he later became a bodybuilding superstar or whatever. It's that foundation that we see so often from guys like Stan Efferding, who was a soccer player. Now Stan has this crazy work capacity. And he can not only go into bodybuilding and build out this crazy frame, he can also go into powerlifting. But when Stan was young, when he graduated high school, no one would have said, hey, you going to be a bodybuilder?
Yeah.
Like they wouldn't have asked him because he was like, well, I don't know, 150 pounds or something, right?
And I was listening to a podcast with Chris Bumstead, and he was actually a 3-sport athlete. Not just soccer. He played like basketball, he played football. He could dunk when he was in high school. And yeah, he takes PEDs, but like, there's a base here. There's a base of work that allows these people to do things that they're doing as adults.
I agree with what James saying also, but like I don't want people to think that like, oh, I'm not the same dimensions as someone like Rich Froning, therefore CrossFit's not going to work. Obviously if you're taller or shorter, thicker, thinner, you're still gonna get pretty jacked just by just doing CrossFit. And also like, and again, like I said, I think he's correct. But like things like evolve. So like think of a couple years ago with strongman. What was like the definitive like strongman competitor? It was Hafthor and Brian Shaw. So you had to be 6'4", 6'5", 4 something. And then more recently, like Mateen's and maybe some other people like, oh, actually it's like the kind of like the smaller compact athlete is the one that's going to be better. But I know he's talking more about like the physique and it been looking better, and strongman sometimes is not going to really fit that. But I'm just saying that like you cannot take what he's saying and brush it across the as truth across the board.
Yeah,
because there's going to be things. But if you notice, we have to really pick at it in order to like kind of find faults in what he's saying. I
don't even think we have to pick at it. I think.
Well, I guess maybe that's what I'm doing right now by saying like, well, CrossFit will still work for you, and strongman. Like I'm picking 2 examples, but you know what I mean. Like
what I would also say is maybe he's talking about the highest level. Like if you think about like how different is Bones Jones built than Anderson Silva. Like there's obviously a weight difference. But the length and stuff like that looks kind of similar. Both really lanky guys. And they found a sport of MMA, which many other people found the sport of MMA and did it and tried it, but they weren't able to do it the way that those guys did it. And maybe that physique and that build lends itself to the sport somehow, or maybe that person being maybe a little more efficient in that sport.
Yeah.
A really great example is like Michael Phelps might as well have been born a fish. I mean, Jesus Christ, like no one's ever been able to swim like that before in the history of the world. If you can bring up some of the examples of some of the people we're talking about. Michael Phelps, had like giant feet, supposedly. I think it was like a 14 or 15 shoe. He had a great capacity to be able to hold on to a good amount of muscle mass. He wasn't necessarily a sprinter in terms of swimming, although he did some of the events that had some sprinting in it. But he's like 6'4", 6'5". So those attributes, while a lot of other people may have participated in swimming at a young age, they probably weren't able to find the success as quickly. And it could be for a lot of reasons. It could be partially genetic. It could be epigenetics, which is your environment and surroundings, but literally could also be a big part of it, of how his shoulders are structured, how his feet are structured. My wife is a swimmer, and my wife's not short, right? She's like 5'10", 5'11". So it's helpful when you go to play the sport if you have some of the convenience of already having some of the physique that builds a great champion.
And from what I understand, he had like a super long torso and then like short legs.
Yeah,
so again, he's just like perfect for swimming. Crazy.
So you bring up a picture of Ed Cohn, because Ed Cohn, is one of the greatest powerlifters of all time. He was probably around I think he's still around. He's probably around 5'6", around 200 pounds. And what you can't tell in some of these pictures is that he had gigantic hands and gigantic feet. And part of the advantage perhaps of having large feet, which his feet aren't gigantic, but there's like a size 12 shoe on a guy who's 5'6" is kind of interesting. Yeah. And he puts his hand up next to offensive linemen that played in the NFL that are like 6'5", and Ed's hand a lot of times is bigger. Ed deadlifted 900 pounds, so he's able to hold on to those heavy weights. And his feet being big, I believe, was something that allowed him to handle those heavy-ass squats when he would walk his squats back with 900-plus pounds.
Yeah, I've met Ed when we've gone to expos and stuff, and I'll put my hand up against his, and I don't have small hands, but his fingers like kind of encapsulated mine. And I'm 6'2", 250. You know what I mean? So, yeah, he does have those attributes. The thing I think is like, and I'm curious to see how the rest of the video kind of goes, is there's a mindset of like when something is greater than, or there's something like people look better than or whatever, there's just this knee-jerk reaction, especially when it does come to fitness, to like tear it down. Be like, that was probably used drugs, probably did this, probably did that. Not the knee-jerk reaction isn't to be like, oh, well, what are some of their habits? What are they doing on a day-to-day basis? How do they think about their workouts? And I mean, if you look at the thumbnail, he used Mike O'Hearn in his thumbnail as the prime example. But even though, who knows about Mike? People think he's on, people think he's not. But what do you do? Dig into his content and you see the way he talks about the way he lifts and the small details. There's a lot to learn there, even if you think the guy's on steroids. But he would probably dismiss the guy because he believes he's on steroids.
Yeah, imagine if people did that with jiu-jitsu. Like somebody walks in and they smoke you. Nobody ever says, oh, that guy's on PEDs or he's just naturally really good. I usually will ask, when did you start? Oh, you started when you were a teenager. You started when you were a wrestler in high school. It's usually pretty obvious when they're like that good, that fast. It's like, oh, wait, but you've been doing stuff behind the scenes before you ever walked into this school. Like that makes sense.
Yeah.
And if you were to see someone just walking down the street that looked like Rob Gronkowski, or if you just see somebody that looks like Usain Bolt, it would be no surprise to you that that person probably is athletic and probably does a sport. That is part of the reason why they're built that way. They weren't able to train their height, but they were able to train a lot of other attributes that they do have.
To think of it, going back to GCSE PE, the big cunts and the little cunts. And when they collided, the big cunts went, oh, I like this sport, I can play this. And the little cunts were like, this is shit, I'm going back to play football. Advertising for years, all the way back to Coca-Cola adverts 50 years ago, have confused you, the consumer, by taking a product and putting someone next to it to get you to make a decision that somehow they're correlated. Like a beautiful model actually needs makeup. Or that a 10-year veteran of steroid abuse and bodybuilding is only big because he took creatine and whey protein. So I'm here to make clear that the factor for selection and the product can't be confused. There are a lot of genetic spectrums that exist. Short, tall, naturally lean, naturally more predisposed to getting obese. Having a massive cock, having a small cock. And why is it? Whenever God was dishing out massive cocks, he always gave it to the tall, skinny guys.
I've watched a lot of porn in my past, and I can tell you that is true.
Yeah, and for some reason, he's like jerking off in the corner for some reason. I don't know about the kind of porn you guys are watching,
but let me say this.
What I've been tuning into.
Why do our dicks look so small? Because we're big. That's why. Well, it's an illusion.
Also, it's in comparison to porn stars, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
And I don't think women even care about size, right?
No, they don't care.
Heck no.
They don't give it. They don't care at all.
It's only men that care. Maybe not.
I think men actually might care more.
No, I think men actually do care more. And I mean, okay, no, women, they're like, sizes make a difference. But it's like, it's not all you need. There's more. What that mouth do? Yeah, right? You can get yourself a fucking, do we have any?
Penis pump?
Yeah, there's shit you can get.
Yeah, penis pump link in description. I'm not joking. Go check it out.
On that spectrum, we have other things like the ability to build muscle mass, even base levels of hormones. Some people naturally have more testosterone than other people. Some people naturally have more dopamine than other people. And some fucking freaks sit at the elite top of the spectrum where they win everything. Banging testosterone, banging growth hormone, banging height, banging shoulder to waist ratio, banging face symmetry, banging everything. By the time they're 17, all their friends are going, you should become a fitness trainer. Why? Because you fucking look like one. That's why.
Okay, so I don't mean to like nitpick too hard, but again, we've done episodes on like, you know, we've had Andrew Huberman on. We've talked with a lot of people. If you have lower testosterone, there are a lot of habits, a lot of things in your lifestyle that you can do to increase your testosterone, right? Mm-hmm. Primarily being sleep, getting sunlight, having better nutrition, minimizing processed foods, working out more. You might have certain deficiencies and you might need to get blood work. Like all these things like can take you from someone who, oh, I have low test to, oh, wow, I actually don't have low test. It was just my lifestyle that was messing me up. So again, a lot of these things you're not just stuck with, you have power over them.
Yeah, and I think whether you're natty or not, I think you're going to always find a commonality of people working hard. And it might make you feel good to think that somebody's not working that hard. But again, someone like Ed Cohn, who openly used PEDs in his career, he's known as the greatest powerlifter of all time. That guy thought of everything when it came to training. Oh, yeah. He literally thought of everything. He thought about how he's going to set up on every single squat, thought about the technique for bench press, and thought about all. Of course, he's gifted, and of course, he has good genetics. Seems like he had good genetics for muscle growth. He used to be like 245 pounds. At 5'6", like that's a formidable person. Not everyone can get themselves to be that big. But he didn't dominate powerlifting for years and years, and he didn't out-total even the super heavyweights being in the 220 and 198 pound weight class just because he had shorter femurs. Mm-hmm. It's because he fucking worked at it. And whether you're this guy over here or you choose to go my route, you're always going to find the common denominator is going to be people have to there's still so much to fucking figure out.
That's a big issue you have with coaches. Oh, do you want to become a PT because you want to help people, you're empathetic, you care about people's problems? No, I fucking look sick as fuck with my top off, cunt. Get me in the gym. A lot of the people that you subscribe to on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever the fuck it is, have won the genetic fucking freak lottery in many realms of their life, and you are starting to consider that as being normal. You are succumbing to the swimmer's body illusion. Now, I'm not saying that someone under 6 foot can't play in the NBA. Someone has before. But what I am saying is, when you're looking at these people's workout plans, diet plans, fucking macro calculations, or whatever it is, you are also succumbing to the same fallacy that many of us do. That a swimmer doesn't look the way he does because he swims because of the way he looks.
See, that's the thing. There are some people like that. There are some people who like maybe they just put out some kind of cookie cutter nutrition plan for everybody to use and just the same fucking workout plan that somebody else did and they just print that out. But if many of these people, let's say some of these people who have been doing this for a very long time and they look a certain way they do, there may be things that they're doing that he's not doing and that he hasn't thought of because he hasn't gotten to that point. There are certain things that they're doing that most people aren't paying attention to. So you can learn a lot of things from people who have a lot of experience. Just because they're experiencing at a high level and they are selling something does not then mean that like they're trying to scam you out of something. Mm-hmm. A lot of these people that are living this lifestyle enjoy the way they feel and enjoy looking the way they do and feeling good and healthy. And they actually do want to share that with people. And I don't like how the tonage of this creates like we talked about this in the Hamza video. Hamza puts out a lot of good information. We did a video about Hamza Ahmed. He was talking about working out, right? But a big thing that he does is he creates villains. Like Greg Doucette was one of his villains, and a lot of these fitness people were his villains. And he was saying, I am the guy to tell you what's right, right? And these guys are trying to scam you. And that is the same thing that he's doing here. He's saying, I'm the natural guy that you can look for being empathetic and caring about you. And then these big fitness scumbags who are selling you products are trying to scam you. He has amazing information all over all of his content. Yeah. Do not get me wrong. He's helpful. He's helped tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people. Mm-hmm. But to then come and create this us versus them thing that all these people are trying to scam you, like, nah, dude, like a lot of these people have great experience and a lot of people have so much that they can share. So why tear people down? Like, why? Power Project family, you're probably wondering, how is he talking right now? Well, right now you're hearing my thoughts, and I'm just trying to tell you that you need to get better quality sleep by shutting your mouth. That's why I've partnered with Hostage Tape, the best mouth tape on the market. If you have facial hair, this will not come off during the night. Stop snoring, get better quality sleep. Don't get divorced because you're such a horrible sleeper, and get Hostage Tape now. Andrew, how can they get it?
Yes, and as an added bonus, you guys can see I have a lot of facial hair, and Hostage Tape does not fall off. You guys got to head over to hostagetape.com/powerproject. You guys will receive free shipping plus a free bedside tin. Links to them down in the description as well as the podcast show notes.
Yeah, I don't think it's helpful. Like, what can you learn from different people? You know, what there's usually, you look at Greg Doucette, you look at Nick Bare, you look at Thomas DeLauer. I don't know what's true. You know, I don't know what's true, but I do know these people personally, and I believe them. You know, when Nick Bare and Thomas DeLauer say they're natural, I got no choice. Like, what's my choice? Just to be like, nope, you're a liar.
You look too good.
I choose though to really not worry too much. That's not my focus.
Yeah.
Because my focus isn't like, see, like Thomas only looks so good because he takes shit. My focus is more like, holy shit, I didn't know that Thomas, I only knew that he ran until like more recently. He's like, yeah, man, I run like 50 miles a week. I was like, what?
He never talks about it.
Yeah, he never talks about it. I was like, what the fuck? And then Greg Doucette is shredded all the time, and he's talking about his like TRT dosage or whatever, and supplements and the way that he eats and things like that. But he's also on his bike a lot. He's like he's a cyclist, you know? So and again, Nick Bare, it's like, how much fucking training does that guy do? Like, I want to look at the habits more. What drives these people? What keeps them going every day? What motivates them? How did they get to this point? That's the shit I want to learn, because these guys are, and I'd throw Derek in there too. These guys are they're firing on all cylinders. They're kicking ass with their podcast. They're kicking ass in their business. It seems like they're kicking ass in their life, and they're kicking ass in their training. And I think it's a mistake to just be like, oh, well, I just think these people are like trying to sell me something. I think they're lying to me. That guy's on shit. And if he's not on shit, you know what? Fuck that guy. His genetics are way better than mine. That's the way he got there. Like, what? That doesn't seem like a good mindset to adopt.
Someone that has, brought him up before, someone that has great genetics, right? And most people in his comment section are like, or not most, but many people are like, oh, he's on cycle, or there's no way he's natural. Russ Swole, right? He's been powerlifting for a long time. He's played football since he was a kid, and he does sell certain things. But guess what? He also has massive amounts of experience with all the training that he's done, and the things that he puts out can help many people who are not near that level. So, no, like, that's the thing, man. Like, there are a lot of people who've just been doing shit for a long time, and they want to share, hey, you might not get to where I am, but this stuff is definitely going to help you fucking improve.
Look at how he looks, man.
Yeah, man. And that was years ago too, probably, man. He's even bigger now.
Yeah.
You know, I just think it's so ridiculous. Like, I get what he's saying, because there are people that are just like selling cookie cutter shit. They don't care about teaching people habits. They don't care about the easy things that people can add to their lifestyle that are free. They don't care about talking about those things. They just care about selling shit, right? But there are many people who look amazing, who are doing amazing things at a super high level, that are like all the people you mentioned, that are helping out a fuck ton of people.
Yeah, some of the fitness people, some of the fitness models, some of the girls that you might see, they maybe ran a little bit of Anavar, or they maybe did a little clenbuterol, or maybe they did a little T3. But again, I guarantee you they have good habits. I guarantee you that they're not eating pizza and taking steroids and then snapping pictures by the pool. Like, it doesn't work that way.
Noel Diesel, he's open about being on steroids. He's huge, but the amount of help that he's given young people in terms of being more confident in the gym and being nicer and having just better habits and better nutrition. And he does sell supplements or whatever, but he's had such a positive impact, even though he's big and on steroids, right?
He's damn big, yeah.
So again, like, don't come over here trying to take shit away from people who are actually helping people. I get who you're trying to go after, but that's, I don't know. I don't dig it.
Just imagine all the people over the years, the millions and millions of people, and still to this day, millions of people have been inspired by Arnold. And imagine if they just passed it off and like, he was on the juice.
That's all those.
That's how he became a movie star. That's how he became the governor of California. Like, you're just going to dismiss everything. Like, why don't you try to learn? Why don't we try to learn? Why don't we keep our mind open? You can be frustrated, and you can say, you know what, man, it kind of sucks that it seems like a lot of these people are on stuff, and that's kind of annoying. But still, I wonder, what are some of the exercises these people are doing? What time of day are they able to, or what time of day are they lifting, or what habits are they doing to be able to incorporate an entire lifestyle into their current life? Because I would like to be able to do something similar. These people are spending lots of time trying to be better. And the one thing that I do think is important to point out is that when you are looking at fitness people, is that they have a big advantage because normally they don't have a normal job. But that's another thing to not get your panties in a bunch about. It's a lifestyle that most people choose to try to gravitate towards because we do want to put a good amount of time in that. We don't want to have a typical 9-to-5 job. Literally don't want to be tired like for your training sessions, and you want to try to figure out how to monetize other things in your life. So that's why people sell their programs. That's why people sell supplements. It's a big part of it. So something to keep in mind when you are looking at somebody who's in the fitness industry and you're only 17, you're like, damn, I want to look like that one day. That might be the number one thing to kind of keep in mind is they're able to spend a lot of hours on that because they were able to figure out how to monetize some other things to give them the freedom to be able to do that all day.
But even though that's true for many people who are at a high level in fitness, in the fitness industry, right? There are certain things that they do that even though that's their life, you can still apply to your life and get massive benefit. We talk about like, we don't keep snacks and shit that we're going to binge on in the house. Is that just because we're in the fitness industry? No, that's something anybody can do so they don't binge on food. We make sure that we can try to get to sleep and get a good amount of night's sleep. And even if you have a 9-to-5, you can try to get a good amount of night's sleep, and that's going to help you gain muscle. That's going to help you burn more fat. That's going to help you feel better during your day so you're more motivated to do the shit you need to do. All these habits that we've always talked about aren't only something that people that live a fitness lifestyle can do. This is the shit that people that do anything, no matter what you work on, can do. You can go take a walk. You can get 10,000 steps a day, which we do. And you can do that without having to live for fitness.
It's all inclusive.
It might be harder doing it your way, but it's just because we're actually lazy.
It wouldn't be as hard if they just took Keto Pro, though.
See, that's what I'm trying to sell everyone on.
Lose 30 pounds in a month with Keto Pro.
Of fat, 30, and gain 30 pounds of muscle.
Exactly.
And a lot of the time when we see these freaks from the genetic freak show lottery, we think we are hashtag not committed enough, hashtag don't rise and grind enough, hashtag don't put the work in. And that's just not true. And the sooner you can come to terms with the genetic freak show, the better. Because really, the journey of fitness is not about product placement and people that promote it just because they've taken ungodly amounts of testosterone or they're willing to starve themselves for 4 months for a new profile picture. But fitness is about incremental increases that we make ourselves, whether getting fitter, stronger, in better shape, whatever.
So yeah, you see, he is right about the comparison thing though. That's one thing that a lot of social media stuff is because like you're constantly seeing people every single day who are either richer than you, better looking than you, have a hotter boyfriend or girlfriend than you, fucking have a nicer house, car, whatever. So you're always comparing yourself to different aspects of people, not just people in fitness. And that's just something that we all need to try to get better at. Because it's not just fitness, it's everything. You know, you're probably following movie stars and all this type of shit, and there's always going to be those comparisons. But like, again, there are aspects where you can look at it one of two ways. You can look at, oh, they have all these things that I don't have, or maybe how can I maybe move myself in that general direction? Not trying to become somebody else or look exactly like somebody, but what are some of those things that they have? What are some of those habits that they might be doing in their life that I'm not doing that could help improve my life? It's a mind shift because social media is fucking weird at the end of the day.
I agree. I think it's about how can you get better. One of the most evil things about comparison that maybe isn't always examined is the fact that you're also comparing yourself to yourself, and you're thinking like you should be further ahead. I'm 30 or I'm 40 or I'm this age. I don't have a kid yet. I'm not married yet. I don't have a house. Like that stuff is really, it doesn't have to be torturous. I think that you probably just need to work on probably, trying to have a little mind shift with that too. When it comes to social media, it's not just the other people that you're looking at, although that can really negatively impact people. It's also just looking at your own feed. Like, oh, I only got 7 comments. Oh man. half the comments are, hey, do you need artwork? Or half the comments are rude. You know, people are like, oh, you look like shit, or you're looking old, or whatever the hell it is that they're throwing at you. And that can hit you a particular way on a particular day, and you could feel bad from that. But again, it's not about, you don't want to end up in a situation where you're feeling bad from something. You want to try to learn from the situation. Oh, I wonder why people, like, just rather than like being hurt by it. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder why people reacted so differently to this post as opposed to the other post. The other post, okay, the other post had a more positive tone, and I was teaching them something different in the other tone. I wasn't selling a product, and okay. And you can just kind of like learn, and you can say, okay, well, anytime I'm going to choose to go this route, I'm probably going to get this response. And so let me put my bulletproof vest on. If I'm going to look into the comments, which that would be nice if you didn't, but if you're going to dive into the comments, maybe you got to put on some armor before you do so. So be careful with even comparing yourself to yourself and comparing yourself to where you think you should be in life.
Yeah. One thing too is, you know, again, trying, like, maybe first off, don't spend as much time on social media. That's just a healthy thing all around. I don't spend a lot of time scrolling through, but maybe try, instead of you see something and it's like, it makes you mad or sad or jealous or whatever. First off, again, what habits can you take away? But then try to maybe root for people. Like, I think there's an aspect where, like, sometimes, and I know I've done this in the past, I'll see someone do something so cool. I'm like, I want to do that. I'm like, man, fuck them. But I'm just like, wait, no. Good for you. Like, keep killing it. Like, I want to be, I generally want to be rooting for people. I don't want to feel good about seeing somebody's downfall. That's not a good place to be mentally, because that's what a lot of people like to see people get dunked on. People like to see people fuck up and fail sometimes. And for me, I don't want to be there. So I try to root for people, even if they're like people that I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of. I'm just like, good for you. You're doing some good shit. That's good, right? I don't know.
I think a lot of it has to do with the way that we go on social media. It's like the mindset before you even pick it up and look at it. You're like looking to like be a bitch. You're looking to like looking to really like nitpick and pick stuff apart and be like, I don't like what he's doing. Oh, he probably only made it, you know, for X reason or whatever. And it's just like, man, why the fuck am I? But think about, like, if somebody at a coffee shop, you just said, hey, you just said hello to somebody, you said good morning, and you just get in a small conversation while you're waiting for your coffee, and they say, hey, what'd you do this weekend? And you're like, it was Easter weekend and had some family over, and it was kind of cool. And they're like, I went cliff diving. You're not going to be like, that's dumb. I bet you looked really stupid when you did that. You know, you're lucky you didn't die from that. You would be like, holy shit, that's wild. Wow. Holy shit, where'd you go? You know, and they would tell you, and they would say it's beautiful. There's a fucking waterfall and all this stuff, but not on social media. Social media is a free pass to be like, you're a fucking idiot, man. Or you could have splattered all over those goddamn rocks.
Like, you did it with the instructor on your back. That's not real. That's bullshit.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, but a lot of, like, so what happens is we always think that in the future, that will be better. Like, in the future, when I have 1 million followers, it'll be better. In the future, when my physique looks better, I'll be happy, or whatever it may be. The problem with that is it makes the present inadequate. And that's what makes us really upset, because we set the bar for the future. Like, damn, I can't wait for that future to happen.
Yeah.
Which means right now it is not good enough. And that's a really bad place to be in. And that's where you start getting the comparison thing. That's when you start, you know, hating on other people on social media, when, like, dude, they're just showing off what they're proud of right now.
That's it. They're just showing off what they're proud of. And then we're taking a giant dump on it. We're like,
Hey, man, that's just real. That's just real.
It's ready.
Yeah.
Ready.
Fitter, stronger, in better shape, whatever. And the next time someone pops up on your feed with thousands, millions of followers who's in amazing shape with their top off, you can think to yourself, maybe it is their knowledge about training, nutrition, et al. And then maybe ask yourself this: do they look the way they do because of the methods that they preach, promote, sell, and talk about? Or do they promote, preach, sell, and talk about the things they do because of the way they look? Unfortunately, for many of you watching this, your idea of what a normal natural physique looks like.
What do you think of that, Andrew? I saw that face.
Just, well, I mean, why can't you just ask that first question of like, what is it that they're doing, how they got there, and then just stop? Not, oh, do they look this way because what they're doing fits them a little bit better? Or I thought he was going to go into like, do they look this way because they take steroids? Like, just ask that first question and then move on.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think like, you know, one thing to pay, whenever I pay attention to people and people that I try to learn from, I try to actually pay attention to their information. Like, are they putting out like good information? Is there something I can actually take away? Or is it literally, use my code for 30% off at this, or use my code for, like, if there's no information and it's just purely just selling supplements and selling this to look like this, bullshit. But there's a lot of really dope people that have a lot of really good information. And the information is something that you need to sift through and be like, oh, okay, yeah, that is something I can apply. That is something I can apply, even if they look seriously impressive. Because partially, one of the reasons why they might look seriously impressive is because of the habits that they employ. And hopefully they're sharing those habits and you can start to implement. So but on the other side, for example, again, the Liver King, right? There is a reason to ask the second question. There is a reason to ask the second question. Because, I mean, and again, I'm not a fan of Liver King or whatever, but the guy was doing CrossFit for a long time. The guy was a great business. Like, he's been doing business for a really long time. So he did have some really positive things. It's not just steroids that made him as big as he was. But the problem is that he was lying about all of that.
Manipulating people.
He's manipulating people. So there is a reason to ask the second question, but I think that the thing to stay away from in terms of what he's speaking about is do not dismiss because somebody looks impressive or because they're doing some really cool things. And because, again, the knee-jerk thing is to be like, the reason why they're doing that is because of this. It's because this bottle of Test. It's because this bottle of Tren. And that might not be it. And you're maybe...
Imagine if Jackie Robinson did that, right? You know what I mean? Like, imagine if people in the past that were getting the same opportunities did stuff like that and just said, well, you know, it's only for white people. It's only for white America. Like, there's so many cases of this over the years. I mean, that's a much more serious topic, but you get my point. It's like, you know, there's no reason to, and in that case, those people that were discriminated against have a good fucking reason to be really pissed about it and to fight for it and to all those things. But in this case, it's, you know, it's just like fitness stuff. But rarely are you going to see in the fitness industry, it's usually kind of more outside the fitness industry. It's usually a little bit more infomercial type thing where you might see something late at night that's trying to sell you that this pill is going to help you burn fat type of thing.
The
Extends. Yeah. And some of those, like some of the sex pills and all these different things.
The humper machine.
That's where you're going to, but that's not even, they're not even like welcome in the fitness industry, those things. They're not really part of our industry. I guess they make a lot of money and they generate a lot of money, but that's not really what he's talking about in this video.
Yeah.
Incredibly warped. You're so far off the mark that it actually makes you depressed and gives you body image issues and makes you feel a little bit nauseous when you look in the mirror when you get out of the shower. But I'm here as a guy with a pretty average physique that works in the fitness industry saying this. Next time you see some fucking bellend prick motherfucking ball bag, toe sucker, promoting the dream, bagged up into powder form, or even tablets, just understand, they are not the byproduct of the thing they're promoting. Their reason for selection, more often than not, had nothing to do with it. And to recap, fitness is about making incremental gains wherever you are in your life, in whatever realms you think you're going to enjoy the most. And fitness is also about being very accepting of the cards you've been dealt in life and playing them the best you can. Because if you're not willing to do that, there's not really many other things that you can do. But if you're unwilling to play the cards you've been dealt in life, I'll leave you to talk that over with your therapist. Hope you enjoyed the talk. Bye-bye.
Amazing. James has awesome information. And I hope to get him live here in studio and to podcast with him. I think, you know, that video is probably something he was probably passionate about. He's probably excited to put that information out there. And he probably, probably so much of what he said, you know, if we get him here on the podcast, we can talk to him about those kinds of things further. And he'd probably have even better explanations than he did in there. But I think he had a lot of really good points. We're picking some of it apart. We're pausing the video and we're discussing it for minutes at a time. and he's not here to like, you know, have like a rebuttal. I think a lot of his points were well taken, but I also think that, you know, a lot of what we said has a lot of merit.
Yeah. One thing is just, again, like, for example, Andrew, you brought up jujitsu, right? I mean, when I started, I was getting my ass beat by everybody. I was getting my ass beat by people that are 150, 160 pounds, and I was 260 pounds at the time. And I wasn't attributing things to like, oh, you know, they have this better and they have this and they've been doing this for this year. It's just like, oh, let me just learn slowly. Let me just learn their habits. What are they doing here? So I can get better. And 7 years later, I've gotten better. Right. So it's
7 years.
Yeah.
That's a tough part for some people.
Right. But the thing is like, it's the same thing with fitness. Rather than looking at people who are potentially really skilled and have a lot of experience, potentially decades of experience from doing shit since they were kids, how about we look at the habits that they may be employing each day that can slowly move us in the direction of being a bit better. And I think we should be able to do that rather than having the defeatist mindset of thinking, oh, they're just on test, they're doing this, and they're just selling products, and they're doing this because they're trying to scam. That's not a helpful mindset. It doesn't move the needle forward. All it does is help us try to look at one person for all the answers rather than getting our answers from potentially a lot of people who have a lot of different pieces to the fucking pie.
The gym and running and having a particular diet, that's all for the fitness people. Like that's kind of like a lot of mindset that people have. And when I think they adopt some of these ideas, like being bigger and being in better shape, that's for the guys with great genetics. That's for the guys that are willing to take steroids. That's for the guys that only, you know, have fitness as their life and it's not incorporated into like a normal lifestyle. And yes, it could be harder to incorporate fitness into your lifestyle, but we've all done that before and we've all been successful with that before. It's something that does make it a little tougher. But again, don't think that it's not for you. Don't think that you can't obtain it, because a lot of the things that we share on this podcast they're simple things that you can implement over time, and it's going to take you a long time. That's the main thing to know is that, and he mentioned it, slow and steady progress over time. It's going to take you a long time. It might take you months. It might take you years. It may even take you a couple of decades, because most likely if you're in a spot that you're not happy with and you wish you were a little bit bigger or had more muscle mass and you were a little bit leaner, that whole process of you learning how to be happy with yourself is a long one for many, many reasons. The physical side is a huge part of it. The mental side is a huge part of it. And ultimately, as you get a better physique, you will start to learn what physique you want to kind of settle into, which is probably the hardest part of the whole thing, because in the beginning, you probably thought, I want to be shredded. I want abs. You start to work your way there and you're like, man, I look too skinny. I don't really like this. I want to eat more food. I want to have more fun. And you realize ultimately this goal that you had wasn't even for you in the first place. So it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of time.
And comment down below. Let us know like how fitness has been incorporated into your life. Let us know, because like it's not that difficult when you have the right habits.
Strength is never weakness. Weakness is never strength. Catch you guys later. Bye.